start off by just covering some basics about plants, how plants are made up, how they grow. This is basic information, but it's important to set a foundation for everything we're going to learn and talk about plants over the course of this course. Okay, so first of all, do you know your plant's anatomy? The parts of a plant generally are the roots, the stem, the leaves, and the flower. Roots are super important. They anchor the plant in place, but also, almost even more important, they absorb water and nutrients from the soil. So if something goes wrong with the roots, your plant cannot absorb water or nutrients and it will basically like starve and dehydrate to death. So you want to make sure you keep healthy roots. You check on the roots of your plant if you start to notice issues, and that you work on rooting and growing new roots when needed. Stems are the base of the plant, the trunk of the plant. They support the plant and their biological purpose is to transport water and nutrients from the roots to the leaves. So you want a nice healthy stem. If a stem breaks, the plant is no longer going to be able to get nutrients to the leaves and the part past the break will die off. The next part of the plant is the leaves. This is how the plant does photosynthesis and converts sunlight into energy. Plants can live without leaves, but once they get leaves, they will grow a lot faster and thrive more. So if you have sort of a leafless stem, it's not great for photosynthesis purposes. And then finally, there are flowers. Some plants get flowers. This is actually, they're beautiful, but they're also for reproductive purposes. They produce seeds and lead to more plants down the line. And here are three processes that your plants use to grow: photosynthesis, respiration, and transpiration. This will take you back to middle school biology, but just a reminder what each of these things is. Photosynthesis is when plants take in sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. They use these ingredients to make oxygen and a type of sugar called glucose, which is like food for plants. It's how they get their energy. This is kind of like, think of it as a plant cooking their own food, and sunlight is the stove. It is what enables them to make their own energy. So, sunlight is super important for photosynthesis. Respiration is how plants use the food that they make. So, plants use the glucose that they made during photosynthesis. They break it down to get energy, which helps them grow and stay healthy. That is like the plants eating the food and getting the energy that they need that they made with photosynthesis. And then the final process that plants follow is transpiration. And this is how plants stay cool and hydrated. It's kind of like sweating. Plants release water vapor from their leaves, and this can help cool them down and also helps to pull water and nutrients up from the soil and through their roots. It's just like sweating to stay cool and hydrated. And if you ever notice that a plant has little water drops all over the leaves and you haven't just watered it or sprayed it, it is probably transpiration that you are seeing. So, in addition to those processes, I wanted to cover some of the basic types of houseplants and just some of their characteristics and care needs. The first type is succulents, and these are plants that store water in their leaves, and so they do not need to be watered as often as some other plants. They have those thick, fleshy leaves. They like really bright light and less frequent watering because they store their own water like a camel. This could be examples of this were aloe vera, hen and chicks, and jade plant. And in my image right there, you can see my very leggy jade plant. The next category is tropical plants. These are plants that naturally grow in tropical locations. A lot of the plants that you buy at the store come from the South Pacific, Indonesia type area natively. They have large, glossy leaves. They love humidity. They love filtered light. Usually, these plants grow. Just imagine a rainforest with giant trees. These are the plants that grow underneath those trees. So they're in the shade of the tree, but they're still getting a lot of light, but no direct light. It's very steamy because there's so many plants. It's hot. It's like a greenhouse, and that's how these plants flourish. So they love high humidity, indirect light, warm temperatures, consistent moisture. This is a lot of the house plants you'll see at the store: Monstera, pothos, philodendron, peace lily, anything like that. And tropical plants might flower or they might not, depending on the plant. And actually, a lot of them will flower in the wild, but will not flower in most indoor house type conditions. So the next category is flowering plants. This is plants that produce really beautiful flowers. They're great for decor, whether they bloom all year long or just part of the year. Their care needs vary widely because there's a lot of different plants that fall in this category, but generally they want bright indirect light and regular watering. Examples of this would be your African violet, your orchid, your anthurium, anything like that. And then the final category has some overlap with other categories, but it's foliage plant. So this is kind of in contrast to the flowering plants. Foliage plants don't flower in a home environment, and we just love them for their beautiful, lush green leaves. Some of these may be tropical plants, some may not. Generally, they are adaptable. They need moderately bright light and regular watering. This would include plants like a snake plant, a ZZ plant, and ferns. They're not going to flower normally, but they're still really pretty and lush. So consider all these types of plants when you are choosing the right houseplant for your home. Succulents are great for a spot with bright light if you want low maintenance. Tropical plants like warm, humid environments. Flowering plants are perfect if you want to add color to your space. And foliage plants are generally very easy care. So understanding the plant basics and the different types of plants will help you to choose the right plant for your home. Now we're going to dive a little deeper and talk about how to care for your wonderful houseplants.